Happy Friday, guys, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Dubs. I'm your host, Bill T. Well, it's Friday, and you know what that means, another podcast. Before we kick this one off, I want you guys to make sure you support those that support Let's Talk Dubs. Ross Wolf, high-quality aftermarket parts for enthusiasts by enthusiasts. Go check them out today at rosswolf.com. If you like their foam air cleaners like I have on my double cab, this way you keep from having those big bulky boxes, and they've got an easy breathable foam air cleaner. You guys get that, slide it right over the velocity stocks in your 48s. Don't interrupt the flow and get high performance filtered air to your carburetor. So go check them out today at rosswolf.com. Also, VW Trends Magazine, a magazine for the people, by the people, back after long hiatus. VW Trends Magazine coming out with their quarterly issues each year. Go subscribe today at vwtrendsmagazine.com. Lots of cool stuff, and it's not just Cow Look Weekly. So go check it out. A lot of variety in that magazine. Show exposure from shows that don't get enough exposure. No, it's not going to be Octo for the fourth time every year. So go check it out and subscribe today at vwtrendsmagazine.com. ICON Pistons. You guys want top quality, high performance pistons. There's only one piston to go with, and that's ICON Pistons. Currently, they're made in 85.5, 92s, and 94s, 3 different pin heights. Go check them out. Where are you going to buy ICON Pistons at? Well, I'm going to tell you that in just a minute, but first, let me pump up the pistons a little bit. These are made from 4032 alloy, which allows you to run tighter piston-to-wall clearances, so you can get down, keep that compression, and make that motor put out maximum power. They've got 2 1.5 millimeter top rings and then a 4 millimeter bottom ring, which makes getting new rings for these things a lot easier. And also, each piston gets M42 skirt coating to protect against dry startups, as well as give an extra layer of protection. The skirt profile is optimized for stability and performance in boxer engines. And how would these guys know? Because these guys make millions of pistons every year. And now the Big Boy Piston Company put out a line because there's a VW dude that snuck in through the back door and said, "Hey, boss, let's make some Volkswagen pistons." So the highest performance pistons that you can get right now, ICON Pistons. Go get them checked out today. Where can you buy these ICON Pistons? Type E Motorsports, CB Performance, RevMaster, The Dub Shop, and Churco Performance. So go check it out today. You want the best pistons? Make sure you only get ICON Pistons. And before we get this episode kicked off, I want to give a shout out to Alan Sapollery for supporting the podcast. Picked up some merch. If you want to support Let's Talk Dubs, your favorite podcast, go to letstalkdubs.com, click on the store link, and pick up some merch. We've got plenty of t-shirts and stuff available. Also, some One Crazy Weekend shirts that are available, so you can go check that out at letstalkdubs.com and support your favorite podcast. So shout out to Alan out of Chester, Maryland, and appreciate those guys. Speaking of Maryland, Bob Cook came out to the show, towed 2 cars all the way out from Maryland. So it was a great event. I'm sure we got another roundtable on the way about One Crazy Weekend because there's so much stuff's been going on since then. So lots of details to go over the show. If you missed it, don't miss it next year because it's going to be incredible next year. It just keeps getting better and better every year because it is a VW gathering. It's not just a car show. It's not show up and park for 9 hours somewhere and wait for some cheap plywood trophy. Not even plywood, bro. Particle board with a sticker on it. No. Be better, other show promoters. Be better. Give people something of value to walk away from. I mean, we gave away poker chips. We're giving away so much stuff that it's becoming the event to be at because there's so much to do between the bowling and the poker tournament, the poker run, the strip cruise. Man, it was an awesome time, and looking forward to getting you guys updated on some more with some other people's takes on it. But let's get into this episode. So as I'm out and about there cruising the internet all the time, if I find something cool, it piques my interest, I take a little dive into it and check it out. And this week's podcast is based off that. Cruising through the Triple Crown of Hot Rodding's webpage and saw there was this black split window bug that was a recipient of a top 30 at the Triple Crown of Hot Rodding. So that is the car that we discussed on today's podcast with Scott Hopkins. Scott Hopkins is out of Georgia, and he's a VW enthusiast, long time, had this project for quite a while, finally decided to kick things off and get it built out, building his dream Volkswagen, doing it his way, and that's what I like about it. It's definitely unique, from the Budniks to the hot rod style interior. It's got a lot going on for it that I really appreciate. So it's a cool conversation to get the feel for what it takes to build a car of this caliber down there and what it took to do it. Also, recognizing some of the guys down south that are doing some stuff, so appreciate those guys. Some of the guys from Alabama were at the show. Riverbank Customs guys. So shout out to the guys from Riverbank Customs. They were out at the show. Got to chat with them for a little bit. As a matter of fact, I shared one of their videos on the Let's Talk Dubs Facebook page. They did a little video for One Crazy Weekend. So support those guys in the South, man. That's the thing about the podcast here, man, is we're worldwide and we go all over and we get everybody from local guys to guys around the globe. So lots of content to bring you, and I'm excited to bring you guys a story on Scott Hopkins, oval window, split window, custom hot rod Beetle that lays frame on airbags on this week's Let's Talk Dubs.
You probably don't know that there's a new Volkswagen out that doesn't look like a Volkswagen. It's got everything that people who like the bug like.
Okay, everybody. So on today's show, as I scour the internet all the time looking for lots of content and just checking stuff out, I happened to run across the Facebook page of the Triple Crown. And this year at the Triple Crown, there seemed to be a pretty sick split window on there. And then I kind of did a little more research and I tracked down the owner of this split window bug, and that's who we've got on the podcast today. And so on today's podcast, we're going to be talking to Scott Hopkins out of Hiram, Georgia, and he's got a 56 Beetle with a 51 roof clip in it, and the car is known as Laydout. You can find him on Instagram at Turbo56. So Scott, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Hey, I dig the car, man. It's super rad looking. I've checked out tons and tons of pictures. And we're going to get into the whole build and all that good stuff. But the way that we always start the podcast is, what's your VW story and how did you get into Volkswagens?
Well, I guess it a lot of people, it starts out when you're young and that's the same for me. I was a military brat, and as my dad was stationed, in Panama down by the canal, he had a couple of Volkswagens, and that was kind of my first experience, being around a Volkswagen. He had a Volkswagen Thing, and he also had a Volkswagen Dune buggy, fiberglass, like a Manx style buggy. And, we always rode around, back and forth across the canal, because he was military. So the base was right at the canal. You could see the boats coming in and out and things like that. So that was really my first experience. And by the time I got to high school, I really started, wanting to get one, and eventually got one. And it started from there. It's nonstop.
And what was your first Volkswagen that you had? What year was it?
The first one I picked up was probably like a 73. I got a package deal, a 73 and a 74. One was a standard, one was a Super Beetle, and one was a Sunbug. The Super Beetle was a Sunbug. So
nice.
That was my very first one that I got. Didn't really do a lot to it. It was really more just learning on it,
Yeah. And now you grew up where? You grew up in Georgia?
Yeah, I grew up in Georgia, born in Columbus, Georgia, pretty much raised in Savannah, Georgia. And then I've been up towards near the Atlanta area for about 15 years now. We've been up this way. So
yeah, I was going to say, I think Columbus, Georgia is where Jake Raby is, but I think he's in Cleveland, Georgia.
He's in Cleveland, Georgia. Yes.
How crazy is that there's a Columbus and a Cleveland in Georgia?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
That's wild. So what's the scene like in Georgia overall? Like, have you always been into Volkswagens, or are you kind of that Volkswagen mini truck thing, or what's the?
Yeah. It seems a lot of us are Volkswagen mini truck. It started with Volkswagens for me. But then it went into mini trucks, the late 80s, early 90s, is when, I started in Beetles, and then I got a mini truck and did that for a few years. And then after that kind of phased out, I guess you would say, in my life, I kind of went right back to the Volkswagens and been into those ever since. So kind of some of the styling comes from, mini truck days and things like that, the airbags and, stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I know there can be a lot of crossover. Now this project you have, the reason I caught onto this project is I happen to be going across the Triple Crown of hot rodding. Last year, Buddy Hale was there. Mark was there with the double cab. There was a couple of Volkswagens that started to come out to the Triple Crown.
Yes.
And I saw that your car was out there. And did your car got an award out there?
Yeah, we got top 30.
Nice.
Probably amongst, I really don't know what the full number was as far as the judged. They have non-judged and judged. There was close to 3,000 cars registered, but there was probably I don't know the number, but 400 to 600 cars maybe as far as being judged. So,
yeah.
So I mean, very, very honored to have received a top 30 between, within all those cars. That just amazing builds from some of those guys and shops and everything.
Yeah. And then, so with this Volkswagen, so it started life as a 56, right?
Yes.
How did this, so you get this project how long ago? And then is there a couple different iterations of it, or what's the genesis of this project? How does this come together?
I got it in 2007 is when I picked up the car. And it was one of those, I saw it on the Samba and started talking to the guy, bought it, had it shipped over here, wasn't running. It was almost a rust-free 56. Mm-hmm. Literally maybe 2 spots of rust through, and then that's it on the car. So super clean from Salt Lake City. And he had just put the roof on. So I just pretty much took it from there. And it's been in primer all the way for 16 years. It was in primer. I had it together and probably drove it just for a few years. Uh-huh. And at that point I was like, I need to take it apart and finish it. Otherwise, I'll just halfway do it. So,
right.
So I kind of took it apart and just started started over again. And that pretty much took about 10 years from the time I started it to finished it now about 2 years ago.
And now when you're building this, so this car, for those that haven't seen it, I think it's got Budniks on it. And
yeah, Budniks.
They're kind of a Cerakoted, or they're kind of they've got like maybe, I don't know if it's a painted powder. It looks like a Cerakote finish with a polished lip. And
yeah, it's a titanium Cerakote. Yep.
Right. And so the car's all blacked out. You've got the Safari windshield, you've got the extended rear pop outs, and then the split bumpers. It's got a split window roof section in it. And so your goal was to kind of go with this Witter style. I mean, it's super cool. And I love that, you kind of didn't follow the pattern a lot of people do. You kind of try to do something different. You did real different in the interior, which I really like. Now there's been a couple, and it's hard because with a Volkswagen, right? Like with a Volkswagen with some hot rod influence, there's a fine line you got to cross.
Yeah.
You got to walk, right? Otherwise it becomes like too hot rod, not enough Volkswagen. It looks like a hot rod guy built a Volkswagen, right? And we're trying to, and it looks like from my perspective, looking at the project, it looks like there's definitely some hot rod influence, but the stance and the wheels and the way that it tucks and everything, it's definitely a VW guy, a guy from the street, like a street car guy, had the influence on this thing, kind of bringing some of that. Now, what was your original plan with the car?
Pretty much, I mean, I always wanted air ride on it, and that was kind of the first thing I kind of went with when I first got the car. I immediately got an air ride kit and put that on there and started that down that road and everything. Okay. I've always wanted it black. So, I mean, that didn't really change.
What kind of air ride setup's on it?
What's on it now is I got an AccuAir management system, E-level. So, it self-levels and things like that. But the rear kit is from a guy off Facebook. He makes, a bunch of air ride stuff. A guy named Jason 710. So I bought his rear kit. And then the front is from a guy named Fab Shop 104, also on Facebook. They're not big, shops or anything, but just a couple guys making parts, after hours.
Nice.
And so I got his front beam and everything, which is a dual bag beam. So it's not sleeve shock. It's not a single bag or anything like that. I got 2 bags, a true 4-bag setup and everything. So
can you get full articulation from each side? I mean, because it's still a beam, right? So it still limits kind of the left.
Well, it's kind of a through rod. It's not a threaded through rod. Mm-hmm. The guy I bought the beam from, he makes his own rods. Basically one side is stationary and the other side is free. So it bolts on the same way if you had leafs.
Yeah.
So there's no nut and washer and bearing on the outside holding your arms onto your beam. So
Right.
you don't have to worry about that. I had those before. That was the first kit I started with. And certain wheels will rub the back of that threaded rod. So he came up with that, and so I immediately got those, and it's a huge difference with that. So, but it can do anything, front, back, side to side, 3-wheel. It'll do all that if I wanted to, but I really just go up and down. This is the main thing for it,
And then, I've always thought about that with the Volkswagen being so light in the front. Like, how much air do you really need to put in the front suspension to raise it up?
It takes nothing.
Yeah.
It takes nothing to lift it up in the front. The back takes more, and especially with the camber that gets on there, when it's all the way down, you're literally trying to drag the wheels up underneath the vehicle when you lift it up from all the way laying down flat.
Right. Yeah.
So it takes a little bit more air to do that. But the front, it's easy as can be. And
you're running 2 tanks or are you running 1 tank, 2 pumps, or 1 pump?
Yeah, 1 tank, 2 pumps. So it's 3-gallon tank.
and it stays. I mean, you can have fun with it for quite a while with that. And what's the max ride height? Like how high is it off the ground when it's aired up?
Driving, my ride height is probably I'd say about 3 or so inches, 4 inches off the ground. Nothing
still
super
low
or nothing too high. Yeah, it's still low, but it's because I have a tranny raise and everything in the back, it's to get my wheels straight, it's not sitting up really high, like stock height, because it's got all that stuff done to it. So I like it when the wheels are straight when I'm driving somewhere, to a show. It just limits how much tire wear I get. But it will get up to about 6 inches or so off the ground.
And you did a tranny raise on the thing too, huh?
Yeah, tranny raise, 2-inch tranny raise in the back.
Mm-hmm.
I did 1.5 inch pan head raise in the front, and then I laid it back probably about a 1/2 inch to kind of correct the wheels, get them back to the center of the fender wells.
Oh, so you kind of Z-cut the front horse head?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I just straight up with the pan head and then kind of laid it back. So the pan head itself kind of goes up at an angle.
Oh, so
I guess it's kind of pie cut in a way, but not really, pie, I've done a pie cut on somebody's and it was a little more aggressive than what I have.
So now you did that?
Just enough to get it out of the way of not hitting anything.
And you did that yourself? So you did some of that fabrication work yourself?
Yeah, I did everything. Nice. Besides, weld the roof on. The guy did it right before I got it. So, but everything else, I welded. I did the crotch coolers. I added those in. Everything, flat pan, tranny raise, pan head raise.
The crotch cooler was from. Was that from like Wolf Parts, or who does the crotch cooler?
I got those from. I think it's Rare Air.
Okay.
Jason Fields, I think, is the one who makes those, and he's got that company called Rare Air.
Nice.
He makes the crotch coolers and the semaphore pockets and a couple other kind of things that are kind of hard to find.
Now on this car, so what made you go with the Budnick wheels?
Well, that kind of goes back to my mini truck days. I had a set of Budnick wheels on a Nissan hard body. Back in the day. So I always liked them. It was one of those wheels. And when I got the wheels, at the time, nobody, 17s back then were, they were kind of big, they were just coming out with 18s at the time. So 17s on a Nissan was kind of big. So, but I just always wanted another set. So I was like, this is what we're going to do. I originally started out with some 17 BRMs, from Air Evo overseas. I bought a set from them. And that was going to be my wheel. If you go to my Instagram, you'll see pictures of the car and primer, with those wheels on it.
Right.
And then when the time came, I was like, I'm ready to step out of the box. And that's why I was like, I'm going to get these Budnicks and be different.
Well, that's kind of the thing, right? With Volkswagens, sometimes the toughest thing to do is just, the wheel selection seems to be so limited with respect to what a lot of people are using. People now the past few years have been starting to kind of go out of the box with stuff, and get some custom wheels made or stuff that's not normal. So, I definitely like a different wheel choice. I like something, and because you can make or break a car with the wheels, there's no question about that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I definitely think I like the wheel choice on it. So you did that as kind of a tribute. Now, what kind of brakes you running on that car?
Wellwood brakes,
Okay.
front and rear. Yep.
So the Impy Wellwood kit, or
From air cooled.
oh,
The
okay.
bad series, I guess,
Yeah.
is what they call them. Yeah.
Okay.
So I did the front and rear kit with
Nice.
them. Yeah, it stops great.
And then so you've got the suspension dialed in. You decided this thing's gonna be hammered, like laid out on the ground. And then what do you have for drivetrain? I didn't see many pictures of the motor online. So
Yeah, the motor I had, it was in. I already had it built, and it was in my single cab that I had.
mm-hmm.
So when I let the single cab go, at the time, nobody wanted to pay the extra money for a built motor. They just wanted a little motor, save some money. So I kept the motor, and then I just kind of revamped it and refreshened it and put it in the car. It's a 1776 with dual Webers.
And it's a blow through setup on the Webers.
I guess that's what it is.
I mean, it's Weber carburetors on there, and you just have the hats on there, and you're blowing up through that in through the regular. It's not fuel injected. It's got carburetors.
No, yeah, just normal carburetors. Yes.
Nice. And it's I'm looking for your Instagram. It's at Turbo56.
Yes.
No underscore, no nothing, huh?
Nope, just TRBO 56.
Huh. Interesting.
The training I got a built, freeway flyer training from a guy up in Tennessee, and he does it right. He asks what wheels you're running, what size tire, and what motor you're running, so he knows, and he sets it up, pretty much to what you want. How fast do you want to cruise? What kind of RPMs do you want to have when you're cruising? So 70 miles an hour, around 3,000 RPMs is a pretty good cruising speed and RPM. So that's what he kind of goes off of and sets it up with that.
Nice. Yeah, it's definitely it's got a lot of nice stuff to it. Now, one of the things I'm most impressed with is the interior. I love the interior in this car because it's hard to do something different without it really going sideways, and it just looks real. It's definitely got a hot rod flavor to it. And the door panels are definitely something that has got a lot of creativity. Who did the interior on this?
A buddy of mine in Savannah, he owns Kimball's Audio and Interiors.
Mm-hmm.
A guy named Chris Rollins, he did the interior. He does, he's a stereo guy by trade. He's been doing car stereos for more than 25 years, easy, for a long time.
Right.
So it's just naturally, he was always building, door panel, speaker pods, kick panel pods, woofer enclosures and things like that. So, and, wrapping those with material and just, things like that. So it's just kind of progressed to full interiors. And he's been doing them for a good number of years now. And they're all different. All the ones he's done, they're all different. He does, pretty much everyone he's done, it's just him. He's done everything himself. All the door panels are custom made. He didn't buy, people ask, where did you get the door panels? You can't go buy these door panels. These door panels are made.
Right.
Everything in the car is made except for the front seats. Those are Scat Pro Car seats that he just kind of recovered and maybe shaped a little bit. But everything else is pretty much one-off, He has all the templates, so if somebody wanted something similar, he probably could do it, but
yeah,
everything was CNC machined. He's got a CNC router machine and all the fancy stuff, a 3D, printer, a laser cutter. He's got a scanner, so he can just go in there and scan the doors and then, already know how big the panel needs to be, how much room he has to work with behind the door, just things like that. Just technology is amazing nowadays.
Oh yeah. The interior on it, the stereo system on there, I love, obviously being a guy from back in the 80s and 90s, man, stereos were important to say the least, with Volkswagens or with cars altogether. Right. But, and what was the name of your friend's shop again?
It's Kimball's Audio and Interiors.
And they're in Georgia as well.
Yeah. So, he's in Savannah, Georgia. He's a little further south.
Nice. Yeah. And so tell me about the audio system that's in it.
Well, I didn't want to do a traditional radio because I wanted to keep it clean, so I shaved the dash. So pretty much we got set up with a audio control Bluetooth, and it just connects to my phone. I can use whatever, Pandora or Spotify or Apple Music. I can use any of those apps if I want. That's my radio. And all I asked him, I was like, I just need a volume knob.
Right.
So the VW emblem in the center and center console is my volume knob. I just connect to it, and then I can turn it up, turn it down, just so I had that, that feel in my hand to turn it down quickly. Because fumbling for your phone, especially if you're jamming, it's got 2 10s in the back, three-way components in the front quarter kick panels, and then 2-way components in the back, rear quarter panel. So
right.
So just quick way that I can turn it down is just to have that. And then he just, he's like, I'm gonna do a VW emblem, so it just kind of adds to the whole thing.
Right. Yeah. No, it's definitely a real. It's a super creative stereo system that he has in there. I mean, I really like the way that he did everything. You know what I mean? It looks like there's some fiberglass work up front in the kick panels, and it looks like you've got a 3-way setup up front in the kick panel area, and then the 2 10s look like they're in a box behind the seat. But they're hidden. I didn't need them to be visual. I just I wanted to keep it clean. Yeah,
it was the main thing.
Now, building this thing, was anybody ever come on? Did you get anybody come on as sponsors, or you just did everything out of pocket on it?
Everything out of pocket. Well, the stereo, Sony kind of helped me out with the stereo. So the Sony Mobile ES pretty much is everything that I have in there. The amps are Sony Mobile ES. All the speakers are, from Sony and things like that. So they helped me out, a lot on that, which my buddy down at Kimball's, being in the stereo business, he had a hand in, kind of getting that kind of moving and things like that. So I guess it's kind of sponsored by that, but that's what they kind of helped me out with.
Right, where they give you kind of
a stereo.
They give you kind of a discount on some of the stuff that you'll
get. Yeah.
Versus like, here's a giant bag of stuff for free.
Yeah. So it wasn't an endless supply of this or that and everything. Other than that, pretty much, it was out of pocket. Kind of some of the reason why it took the time it took.
Yeah. No, it just has such a good look to it. It's got. The car is gloss black. The interior is kind of a bluish or purple. I'm a little bit colorblind when it comes to those colors.
Yeah, it's blue. Yeah, it's definitely blue.
It's like a royal blue kind of.
Yeah, because it's close to a royal blue.
Yeah.
It depends on the light that's being used. If there's a flash or something, it makes it really bright, and then
right.
And then the headliner being swayed, certain lights, it kind of has that really dark purplish look and everything, but it's all, it's definitely all a blue color.
Yeah, and the other thing that I really liked about the car was that it's got an overhead console in the car, which I thought was pretty cool. It looks like a console. I don't know if it's just a light section or what it is.
Yeah, it's a console. I got my air ride controls up there. I have a couple of buttons for, one button's for interior lights where I can just turn the interior light on. Another button on there is for the headlights, custom headlights. I got some lights in those that light up, so I'm gonna be able to turn those on and off. And then my alternator and my oil light are up there too. So, Yeah,
that's a good look, man. It's got a, the interior just has it really has a hot rod look. It's kind of got the almost like a Chevrolet hood badge, kind of like a chevron design.
Yeah, a lot of people think that seats are out of a Cadillac.
Right.
Like, no, they're just an interior piece that is available. He's used it on a few cars, and he's used a different one that has a different shape on a few cars. So, and I've seen it on other cars that somebody else has done too. So, I think it's just a common symbol or something.
Yeah, it's
available for interior.
It's definitely a super unique interior, and I just like the whole hot rod look to it. Now, I'm judging by the seats that are in it. You a fairly tall guy.
I'm 6 foot.
Yeah,
so I guess
you like it pushed back.
I'm tall.
and he's also done a custom like a raised center console, not like a traditional Volkswagen center console, but more like kind of a raised center console in it with a little boot around the shifter.
Yeah, he made the boot and everything. Gave me a little wireless phone charger
Oh,
So I have
nice.
a place to put my phone, with the Safari windshield. Um, the normal place, if you didn't have a Safari windshield, it would be one of those little suction cup, little phone holders
Yeah.
that everybody uses. And so it gives me a place to put my phone and, and charge it at the same time. Don't have to worry about no cords or anything. So
No, it's got
it's kind of a cool thing.
it's definitely got a sharp look. Now the front Safaris you have in there, what Safaris are those?
It's one from Loose Nuts. It's
Oh,
from
from
Jeremy.
Jeremy. Yeah.
Yep. And I bought his DIY kit.
Mm-hmm.
So, he sent me the frames, mainly bent and everything. And pretty much you build it. The only thing it was done is, he had the top and the bottom bent and I had to finish it pretty much. So I had to finish building it.
Right. So
So
you're kind of a hands-on guy. So you were like, I'll do that.
yeah. I kind of like doing that. It makes me feel a little bit better, doing it myself, like I did that. So,
Right.
so that's why I kind of did it that way.
Now I noticed the rear of the car looks like it's tubbed. You tubbed the rear end.
Yeah, I did some mini tubs in the back, just to, the normal tub that's back there or fender, inside piece is just a small little round bump on the inside. So I kind of came straight out and then came down a little bit. So it's not a huge tub, but it's enough to allow the tire to, tuck in there a little bit more and sit the car down a little bit lower.
Yeah. No, it looks sharp. Now the wheels on are they 17s that are on there?
Yeah, 17s by 7 in the front, and I got 17 by 9s in the back.
Nice. Yeah, I like a nice wide tire in the back. It's just a good look. And the turbo motor you got, it runs pretty good. It keeps that thing moving.
Well, it originally was supposed to be a turbo motor. That's why the name on Instagram is Turbo. But
Right.
being that I did the training race and everything, I kind of limited myself on how much room I had.
Oh, gotcha.
If I don't run the rear deck lid, I could probably run a turbo, but I kind of like that. It takes away from the car, the shape of the car, and how the car looks and everything. And I really didn't want to do that. So right now I'm ex-nate on the turbo.
So
But the engine does good. It gets it down the road fine. It'd be better with a turbo, but
right.
it's fine the way it is.
And I'm looking at the dash. There's it looks like there's a push button piece or something in the middle of the dash, or what is that in the middle of the bottom of the dash?
Yeah, push button start.
Oh, nice.
So it's got and it's all with an alarm system. So pretty much the key is it's just a key fob, and it's a proximity alarm. So as I get close to the car, it automatically disarm, and then the system can be started. But the locks on the old Beetles, they're old locks. Those can't be. They're a little bit more difficult to put power locks on something like that. So it doesn't work that part and everything. But I still have to manually lock it. But it still has an alarm on it, so it still acts, some kind of safety feature for keeping people from trying to steal it.
Yeah. And then so you finished the car. What year did you finish the car?
It got finished as far as painting and the whole assembly. It was about 2 years ago. So 2023 is when it got finished with the paint job, and then I fully assembled the car, everything but the interior. I had to wait. The interior guy wasn't quite ready for me, so I did have to wait probably almost 2 years.
Wow. And then what was the first show you took it to?
The first show I took it to was at the end of April, and it was Mini Trucking Nationals in Maggie Valley, Tennessee.
And how did that go, bringing a Volkswagen a mini truck show?
It went really well, and surprisingly, I wasn't the only Volkswagen there. So.
Oh, really?
But yeah, I did good. I was trying to hope to get like best debut, but I really don't know if they even knew that I was debuting the car, because I was in my buddy's booth. He had a vendor booth, so I was there debuting it at his vendor booth.
Oh, very cool.
But I did get best car, and even though it's a mini truck show, there was a decent amount of cars there. For them to even have a class for cars, they know there's going to be other things there besides mini trucks. So. Right.
Now that's it. Now where does that take place at Mini Truck Nationals?
Maggie Valley, Tennessee.
Maggie Valley. Is that, I think I've seen that one. I mean, they kind of take over a whole little town, or what?
Oh yeah, yeah. The whole town, they let them drag their trucks up and down the strip and everything. So that's kind of the thing. Friday night, or Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, they're just after the show, back and forth on the strip, just throwing sparks and just, having a good time. People lined up on the sides of the road as everybody's going back and forth. So
Nice.
it's pretty fun. It's an experience. And that's not the only thing that they have there. They have VWs in the Valley that goes on there. So there's Volkswagen shows that go there at the same place, same location. C10 Nationals are there. All Truck Nationals was just there last weekend. So there's a lot of different shows that go on there. That just happens to be one of them.
Now, when you decided to take it, what made you decide to take it to the Triple Crown?
I wasn't originally going to go, but a couple of shows before that show, I had a couple of different people, kind of saying, hey, you should really take it to Triple Crown. I think you do well. I've never seen anything like your car. They would love it there, and so after like it was like a week before Triple Crown. The one of the people prior, I saw them again at another show, and they're like, so you're going to go to Triple Crown? And so we were like, yeah, maybe we will, and everything. So we kind of decided just a couple of days before the show, and we just booked an Airbnb, and then we rolled up there and and had an amazing time. It was just pretty crazy last minute kind of thing.
And now going to Triple Crown, like what's the process? Because those are hot rod shows, like some of our listeners haven't been to hot rod shows, like what's the layout? How's the setup? What's the cost to get in? Like what's the whole thing with getting in on that?
Yeah. By the time we got there to even get, we had to register on site because we didn't pre-register. That ended really early because they always get over 2,000 cars. They had well over 1,000 people or cars pre-registered for the show. So we had to wait till they opened up and do that. And on the other side of the track, there was already 1,000 cars in line to get in.
Oh, wow.
So, but by the time we got over there, there was still a good amount, and it took a little while to get in. But 2 rows into the speedway, Nashville Super Speedway is where the show was held. And then, certain cars went one way, like I said before, and other cars that were being judged went to pit row. So if you were being judged, you go on to pit row. That way the judges, that's just the only place they go. They don't have to walk all around with the amount of vehicles. So if you can make it on there, you get judged. If you don't make it on there, then unfortunately you don't get judged at the time.
Oh, so you kind of pick where you go.
Yes, in a way. I think they kind of limit. I've heard from somebody else that, one of the promoters will sit somewhere and see all the cars coming in. And then he'll be like, oh, yes, that one definitely make sure he goes on pit road. That one, yes. And he kind of hand picks certain vehicles. And I don't know if they just kind of direct them like, hey, come on over here. You're going to park on pit road. I don't know if he does that just so there's a good amount of nice cars out there. But that's what I heard. So whether that's true or not, I really don't know. But I just, they asked me, you going to be a judge? I was like, yeah. And I just rolled in. So nice. Apparently I had a good enough look to get on pit row.
And now when you get in there, how many cars are in pit row?
There was probably 400 to 600 cars. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Basically it's the whole pit row lane. And there was 3 rows of cars from the start to the finish. So however much you can fit on there, it was a good amount.
Wow. So that's it's a pretty big deal. And so you go there thinking, now I'm going to go see and just see how it fares. Now, what do you think when you get chosen?
Heart skips a beat a little bit, guy rolls up on his little golf cart and everything. And he just kind of asks, hey, is this your car? And I was like, yeah. And he just shakes my hand. I'm like, why are you shaking my hand and everything? And then he puts a sticker on the headlight that says you're a Triple Crown winner and everything. So it kind of, changes a little bit, in your beat when he tells you that and everything, which is, pretty amazing,
Yeah. It's got to be pretty exciting, especially coming there as a VW guy. You're not always the VW guys aren't always like,
Yeah.
I think like, I want to say like given full credit, but we've seen that change. Have you been to the Triple Crown before?
No, that was the first time I ever went. And this is only their third year.
Yeah. And I know that,
So this,
I know
it used to be another show. I think it was originally called Shades of the Past, I believe. And then they kind of redid it and started going to the Nashville Super Speedway. Yeah. And it just kind of got really, I don't know if because they changed it or whatever, but it started bringing out like Ken Biggett and Chip Foose and a bunch of other really top-notch, car builders and stuff like that. So,
yeah, there's definitely there's a huge variety of cars, and it's interesting because so many of the cars that are coming out there are just so over the top with like restyling the original stuff. Whether it's the interior parts and pieces or the engine covers and things like that, and it seems like for that Volkswagens are kind of, at least in the world of Volkswagens, right? It seems to be kind of limited with stuff people are willing to do because everybody is so focused on like being able to return it back to stock or something. And I think it's because the cars have gotten worth more money. Now with your car specifically, yours is a 56 and you did the split window roof section, and we kind of, your goal was to make it a Zwitter without ruining a Zwitter.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much, Now, it's kind of the same as the wheels, Right. People are all about wide fives and they don't like any other wheel style. It's got to be an early car. It's got to be wide fives, or it's got to be a small tail light, or it's got to be a small window,
Right.
Everybody has their own thing, so I've had it all. I've had all those, patina, non-patina, and, big wheels, little wheels, whatever, I've done a lot of stuff, and this is really the one I wanted to be different on, I mean, nobody wants to go to a Volkswagen show. Nobody wants to go to any show and have the guy next to you look like the same exact car, It's right. Like, oh, these two, are y'all related? Y'all know each other?
You guys brothers?
Like, no. Yeah. So that's my biggest thing. I've always been one to try to be different,
Yeah. No, it definitely stands out. And, you tell me earlier that you've taken as far as you went to Dub Splash in Texas.
Yeah. Dub Splash. Yeah. And, Grand Prairie, Texas. Yep.
Nice. Yeah.
That was a pretty good show.
We're trying to figure out, we just had our show here which is one crazy weekend. And it's been kind of blowing up social media for the past pretty much 2 weeks. And
it has.
And it's like, I can't even believe, how many cars, that are out, that how many people are reposting stuff from there. I mean, the content creators are out there and, they hit it pretty hard, but the thing with these shows is like anymore, all the Southern California shows are like half day shows, come out and do this. And, they used to have the classic weekend. This year they tried to refire it back up and call it the revival, but it just wasn't even close to the same. And, the whole thing with Sunday shows are kind of a drag, especially if you got to travel, because on Sunday, then you got to take Monday off of work, and it's kind of a whole ordeal.
Yeah.
And we built, the show out here a little different with 3 days of stuff to do. And, your car is parked in a specific area at the hotel and casino, like right out the front doors, and it's all secured. So it's been interesting putting on the show with the intent of making a different event than most VW shows, because a lot of just VW shows are kind of just the VW guys kind of getting together and hanging out for a day or half a day or whatnot. So when you went to you go to Dub Splash, is that just such a 1 day event? They have pre-events.
Yeah, it's just a 1 day event. The event itself was really good. I mean, I can't say anything negative about the show and how it was ran. Everything they did was really good. And, the cars, the vendors, the swap meet, it was really good. The location was awesome, all that stuff. But really, yes, it was just a 1 day show. And, when me and, a buddy of mine, we drove out there. So when we get there Friday, we're like, okay, where's everybody hanging at? Where's everybody cruising? Where's all the cars going to be, and it was like, no, nobody was out driving. Nobody was out, And it was like, this is weird. I mean, on this side, we do that a lot more.
Right.
I don't know how it is on the West Coast, but I mean, it didn't seem like it was happening that much there.
Well, and I think what's happened with, especially the Southern California scene, there's not a lot of pre and post events. And if they get them, then the promoters start fighting back and forth of who's more important. And it just because that's what ruined the classic weekend. And then it just,
I've never been to anything over there.
Yeah.
So I really don't know how that goes.
With what we've done now, we've made our event to where it's a 3-day event. Like you come out, you bring the car out. There's a lot of driving involved in it. So it's real fun because like you said, you go to the mini truck nationals, you're cruising the strip, you're doing all that kind of stuff, or you're cruising the main boulevard and all that. And it's just something more fun to do, to be out there doing that stuff. Now,
and like you said, I see it all the time, here since the show has ended. I've seen it multiple times on Facebook popping up, the One Crazy Weekend. And, and that's why I tell, my boss and, my buddies, and I was like, hey man, we need to maybe try to plan a trip, even though it's going to take like a full day of driving to get there.
Yeah, more than that.
It'll be pretty cool. Cause it's not just a one day there and then turn around and come right back.
Right.
So at least we'll have some time there to have fun, like you say, and doing all the events.
Well, and that's our goal, right? I mean, there was nothing funnier than watching a bunch of guys who don't know how to play poker sit and listen to the dealer tell them what they can do. Like you can do this or you can do that. But it was pretty funny because it's all guys in the VW community, and it's like a fun way to be able to play poker legitimately at a hotel where it's like, you pay your $40, you get $12,000 in chips. And next thing you know, it was just a blast. We did that with the bowling tournament. And then we had, the strip cruise Friday night, the car show Saturday. And then the other thing we did with the car show, we now have a heavy hitter section where it's like guys that want to be judged, just like the Triple Crown, right? Guys want to be judged. You park over here.
Yeah.
And then you're judged up against everybody else. And then we have, we just have there's just one best of show and it's $1,000.
Nice.
So trying to make it where people are really, like we're going to bring out the stuff. And this year they brought out the stuff. I mean, Turmoil was out there, but Buddy makes the award for best of show. So he's kind of exempt from the award. Right. But I'm glad that that's the first and only VW show it's been to so far with Turmoil. But, Mark was out with a double cab out of Quality Powder Coating in Bakersfield. And he just has a sick double cab that was his double cab was at the Triple Crown, I think last year or possibly even this year, but it's a super sick double cab, Mangus interior and all that stuff. So, it's nice to see people in the VW hobby start branching out to some of the hot rod shops that do interiors and just do something different while, with the VW hobby is interesting because, everybody's got this line you have to stick within, right? Like it's got to be this or it's no more Volkswagen or whatever. And, I think, as a guy who builds cars, you get kind of like, well, I don't want to cross the line, but in the same respect, you're building your own car and it's time to like just build it how you want it, and who cares what people think. But I think it's good when you build something that you want to express kind of your hobby and then people get enjoyment out of it. That's a good angle on it. So, and I think your car really kind of, especially for a guy who built it at home and did all that stuff, like your buddy did the interior, did a really, really clean interior on it. I mean, I dig the hot rod vibe that it has. I like the airbags, I like the wheels. I just like the whole thing has just got a really cool setup to it, like the stance and the fenders in the back. They're widened, are they? Yeah,
about they're 1.25 inches wider, fiberglass fenders.
Nice. Yeah, I could tell that.
Just to give that a little bit wider wheel back there and everything.
Yeah. So what's next on the plan for the 56?
I mean, just enjoy it. I mean, that's what we've been trying to do.
So now you're out there driving. You drive it to the shows and all that stuff.
Local shows, things that are about, I guess I'd say, about an hour from me. I will drive it. I stay off the interstates, of course, because especially around Atlanta, they're horrible.
Yeah.
It's a good way to get a bent wheel.
Yeah.
So if there's any interstate involved, I'll trailer it. But most of the shows we go to, the majority of them are a little ways away, but we do have plenty of local ones around the Atlanta area that are close enough for me to drive. So.
Well, that's cool, man. And again, I like the whole combination. I like the Budnick wheels. I like stuff that's a little bit different. Other people have used Budnick wheels before, but I just like the way that like you went with the whole thing kind of has a hot rod vibe. There's been a couple built like that.
Yeah.
You've got Turmoil, which is just completely over the top.
Yeah, that's a whole nother class there,
yeah.
buddy.
And and then there was one that was built out of a hot rod shop in Havas. It was kind of a baby blue one that was at the SEMA show. Now, any plans to SEMA show or any of that kind of stuff?
No. I was, they talked about it, when we were doing all the Sony stuff and possibly being in the Sony booth at SEMA. Last year, a friend of mine, not really a friend of mine, it was a friend of my boss, really, but his white Beetle was at the SEMA in the Sony booth.
Oh yeah, I think I remember.
So
yeah,
and they talk. I was kind of in line to go there, but the interior wasn't done, and so it was like, nah, I'm not worried about it. I'm not going to try to force to hurry up and finish anything just to get in there to be in SEMA. It would be fun to do, but that's a whole. That I'd probably have to take 2 weeks off just to do all that.
Yeah, it's quite an ordeal, but it's definitely something fun to do. But yeah,
it would be. It definitely would be.
I definitely love the car, man. I'd love to see it out here next year for one crazy weekend. It'd definitely be a trip worth making with some of your buddies at work and stuff. They're Volkswagen guys. You guys, you get a couple car trailer and bring a few rides out, because it's a driving event, and it's the bowling, the poker run, all that stuff is and then the poker tournament. It's all a good time. So. And then getting your Volkswagen, getting your Volkswagen on the strip, man. There's nothing cooler than that, under all the lights and making all the crowds turn around and watch the show.
Yeah, that would definitely be a fun experience to do for sure.
No, it's a great time. But yeah, no, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me about your car, man. I love the car. I think it's another one of those builds that's it's fresh, it's new. Now I saw it was featured in Volksmania magazine. Is that what it was?
Yes. Yeah. I think that's about to come out or about to go to printing.
Okay.
So also it is coming out. It'll be out in BW Trends next month also.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. That's it'd be good to see that thing featured, because there's a lot of it's good that cars like that are coming out, because I think it's helping get people to realize you can do something a little bit different, without having to just be the same.
And that's the fun thing about it. It fits in. I mean, I can go to a hot rod show. I can go to, just any kind of show. I've been to different shows. I've been to big wheel, classic car shows. Not technically called donk show, but it's just all the big, bigger trucks with the big wheels, or the cars with the big wheels and things like that. It fits right in there. Go to the hot rod show. Everybody loves it at the hot rod show. Go to a mini truck show, a Volkswagen show. It doesn't really matter. Right. It just kind of fits in. It appeals to everybody, and I love that thing about it.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic, man. Well, I definitely appreciate you coming on the podcast, and hopefully, if we hit some shows, the plan is we might run out to the East Coast and get a couple guys to caravan out there to one of those shows in Florida. I don't know if it's there's a show in March. I don't know if it's Bully Brigade and the No-Do show and all that stuff.
No-Do's usually April.
Yeah,
around the Daytona area.
Yeah, I think that
that's usually a really fun time. Like you would like it. It's not just a show. It's a little bit of everything on a couple of days. So
yeah.
So the setting's really nice for that one too. And then we got Bug Jam coming up next month. That one's in about 45 minutes north of Tampa, Florida.
Yeah.
In Dade City. That's a pretty big Volkswagen show in Florida also.
And you'll be headed to Bug Jam?
Yeah. Well, I'll be going to Bug Jam.
Nice. Well, man, Scott, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. And if people want to get at you, your Instagram is at Turbo56.
Yes.
Turbo56, the number 56, or spelled out 56?
56. TRBO 56. Yep.
Okay. So it's TRBO.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I couldn't find it. I kept punching in.
Not TURBO.
All right. Turbo 50.
TRBO.
Well, there you go. Yep. Now I just found you, man. So I'll give you a follow.
There's everything. Yeah.
And then
I thought I said that when you asked, but I'm sorry if I didn't.
Yeah, no, I was over here searching Turbo 56. I'm like, no, that certainly is not Scott. So yeah, I dig it, man. So TRBO 56. I dig it, man. Yeah. Well, and you guys that are out there that are listening to the podcast, make sure you check out that Instagram. I'll put a link on it in the description below down the podcast. And for sure, man, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. And I look forward to maybe hopefully seeing the car one day. And if I get out to the East Coast, I'll check it out. And if I don't get out to the East Coast, maybe we'll see it one crazy weekend next year.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Well, Scott, man, it's been great having you on. And listen, I'll look forward to seeing some more of your car in the magazine coming out soon.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, brother. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Well, if you like Let's Talk Dubs, make sure you share this podcast with some of your friends out there. All your VW community, share Let's Talk Dubs podcast. Promote and share Let's Talk Dubs through your Instagram. Tag me, and you get a shout out on the podcast. So make sure you guys are tagging me specifically, Let's Talk Dubs, on your Instagram and Facebook. Share that with your VW circles, and you'll get a shout out on the podcast. Make sure you mention there, hey, Bill, this is for my shout out. So appreciate you guys for supporting Let's Talk Dubs. If you want to support Let's Talk Dubs more, go to letstalkdubs.com. Pick up a One Crazy Weekend shirt. I may, within the next 2 weeks, I do have some poker chips left, and I may sell a poker chip collection or two. So there's, for this weekend, or last weekend, I think there was 5 poker chips total, and I think I've got a few sets of 5 of the complete poker chips available, because we had one for the poker run, one for the wagon, one for the strip cruise, one for spikes, and one for bowling tournament, and one for the poker tournament. So yeah, we had I think the 5, 4, I don't know, man, 5, 6, I don't know. I had a lot, but I spent a lot of money on poker chips, but they're super rad. Definitely a rad keepsake, but there'll be a couple sets available. They'll probably be $20 for a set if you didn't get a chance to get them picked up. So appreciate you guys for supporting Let's Talk Dubs. If you guys got any content suggestions or whatnot, email me at bill@letstalkdubs.com. And until next week, guys, later.
You probably don't know that there's a new Volkswagen out that doesn't look like a